I have a dozen, as you can see. They are let out at 7 every night. If anyone should try to get into my house or out of it, well, it would be regrettable. And now I want to show you my new collection of heads. Will you come with me to the library?
I hope you'll excuse me. I'm really not feeling at all well.
Oh, I am sorry. You need a good restful night's sleep. Tomorrow you feel like a new man, eh? Then we'll hunt, eh? I want to show.
But I was already hurrying from the room and up the marble stairway. I heard him calling after me.
Sorry you can't go with me tonight. Expect rather fair sport, a big strong native from the west coast of Africa. He seems resourceful.
The bed was good. I was tired, but I didn't sleep. I didn't toss or turn, I didn't move. I just lay rigidly in one spot, my eyes on the ceiling, my arms tight against my side, my breathing slow and heavy, my mind empty, waiting. The inky black was just beginning to dissolve. A thin line of gray was just beginning to seep insidiously into my room, and Zaroff found his quarry. Then, I suppose I slept. When I awoke, the sun's shadows were already slanting through my room. Must have been well afternoon. I came down to find General Zaroff pouring him a glass of brandy on the sideboard.
Ah, Mr. Rainsford, feeling better, I trust?
Yes.
I wish I could say the same. I'm not well. Hunting was no good last night. He made a straight trail, offered no problems at all.
General, I want to leave the island at once.
Mr. Rainsford, tonight we will hunt. You and I.
No, General. I've told you I will not hunt.
I beg you to reconsider. My idea of sport is much more diverting than Ivan.
You mean that?
Yes, you and I. It's really an inspiration. A foeman worthy of my steel at last. Oh, you'll find this game worth playing, Rainsford. Your brain against mine, your woodcraft against mine, your strength and stamina against mine. Outdoor chess! And the stake is not without value, eh?
And if I win?
If I do not find you by midnight of the third day, then I am defeated. My sloop will place you on the mainland near town. Oh, you can trust me. I give you my word as a gentleman and as a sportsman. Of course, you in turn must agree to say nothing of your visit here.
I'll agree to say nothing of the kind.
Oh, then in that case... Oh, why discuss it now? 3 days from now, we can chat about it over a bottle of Vertigo. And Liz... Now listen, Rainsford. Ivan will supply you with hunting clothes, food, and knife. I suggest you wear moccasins and leave a border trail. I suggest too you avoid the big swamp on the southeast corner of the island. There's quicksand there. And now, you'll want to start. Without, I shall not follow until dusk. Hunting at night is so much more exciting than by day, don't you think, Mr. Rainsford? Good hunting.
I kept telling myself through tight teeth that I had to keep my head. Keep my head! My first idea had been to put distance between myself and Zaroff, and so I plunged into the jungle in a blind panic before I shook it off. It stopped. Straight flight was futile. It would only bring me out to the sea. Then I hit upon the idea of giving him a trail to follow. I would begin our dangerous game by playing the fox. For more than 2 hours, I went through the trackless wilderness, executing a series of intricate loops, doubling again and again on my trail. Night found me leg-weary, hands and face lashed by the branches. I needed rest badly, and having played the fox, I decided now to play the cat. I climbed into the crotch of a huge tree. An apprehensive night crawled slowly by like a wounded snake. Then at dawning, a startled bird suddenly screamed and I flattened against the bough. Through a screen of leaves as thick as tapestry, I saw the general. He came slowly, his eyes fixed on the ground. Almost beneath my tree, he paused and went down on one knee, studying the ground. I would have gone for him, leaping like a panther does, except for the small automatic in his right hand. After a seemingly endless time, he came back to his feet. His eyes left the ground and traveled inch by inch up the tree. I froze, every muscle tense for a spring. But the hunter's eyes stopped just before they reached the limb on where I lay. A slow smile spread over his brown face.
Oh, Rainsford, where can you have gone? Wherever are you, you clever dog? I simply must go home and lie down a bit to think this over.
The pent-up air burst hotly from my lungs as he turned and disappeared. So, the general was playing with me, was saving me for another day's sport. Zaroff was the cat and I was the mouse. And that moment I knew the real meaning of terror. I slipped from the tree and set off into the woods. I'd only gone a few hundred yards when I found a huge dead tree leaning against a smaller living one. I pulled my knife from its sheath and set to work. The job was finished. I threw myself down behind a log 100 feet away. How long I waited, I don't know. It seemed like days, probably only a few hours. And it was coming again, with the sureness of a bloodhound. Nothing escaped those searching black eyes. No crushed blade of grass, no bent twig, no mark, however faint in the moss. He was so intent on his stalking, he was upon the thing before he saw it, his foot touching the protruding branch that was the trigger. The dead tree delicately adjusted to rest on the cut living one crashed heavily to the earth, and I waited yet another moment, not daring to look to see if it had done its work.
Rainsford, if you are within the sound of my voice, let me congratulate you. There aren't many men who know how to make a melee man-catcher. I am a lucky man, Rainsford. My reflexes are still good. Did you see the way I sprang back even when I was falling? Rainsford, can you hear me? You're proving interesting. I'm going back now to have my wound rest, but don't be alarmed. It's only a slight one. I shall be back. I shall be back.
It was dark and I had been going for hours. The vegetation became ranker. Insects were biting me savagely. And when mud began sucking viciously at my feet like giant leeches, I knew where I was. About to enter the death swamp with its quicksand. However, the softness of the earth gave me an idea. I stepped back about a dozen paces out of the quicksand and began to dig. When the pit was above my shoulders, I climbed out, and from some hard saplings I cut stakes, sharpening them to a fine point. I planted the stakes at the bottom of the pit, with their points up. With flying fingers I wove a rough carpet of weeds and branches. With it I covered the mouth of the pit. And then, wet with sweat and aching with tiredness, I crouched behind the stump of a lightning-blasted tree. I heard the padding sound of feet on the soft earth. I knew he was coming. The night wind brought me the perfume of the general's black cigarette. Although I could see nothing, it seemed to me that he was coming with unusual swiftness, that he was not feeling his way along foot by foot. In one brief moment, I lived an entire year. Then I heard the sharp crack of a breaking branch that covered the pig. It gave away.
You've done well, Rainsford. Very well. Where did you get the time? Your Burmese tiger kid has framed one of my best dogs. And so you score again. I must see what you can do against my whole pack.
He went away again, but I just lay there in the swamp that night. At daybreak, I was awakened by a distant sound, faint, wavering, the baying of a pack of hounds. I went up into a tree. Down a watercourse not a quarter of a mile away, I could see the bush moving. I strained my eyes and saw the lean figure of General Zaroff. Just ahead of him, I made out the gigantic Eva, holding the pack at leash. I prepared for the native trick I've learned in Uganda. I slipped from the tree, caught hold of a springy young sapling, and to it fastened my knife. Its blade pointed down the trail. With a bit of wild grapevine, I tied back the sapling and ran for my life. The hounds hit the fresh scent and raised their voices, and I knew how an animal at bay must feel. Even as I ran, the clamor of the hounds suddenly ceased, and within my heart stopped. For that meant they had reached the knife. I climbed excitedly up a tree and looked back. In a hope, I prayed. The general was still on his feet. Ivan, however, was not. The knight, driven by the recoil of the springing tree, had done his work. Then the dogs took up the cry again. I was on the ground once more. Nerve! Nerve! I panted the words over and over as I fled headlong. A blue gap showed in the trees, and dead ahead. I forced myself up on towards the gap and reached the sea. It lay 20 feet below me, rumbling and hissing. I stood a moment, poised over the edge. I heard the hound. I knew it was the end. Then I leaped far out into the water.
Well, it's been a busy day, Adam. A busy day. Oh, down, Adam, down. What's the matter, my boy? Hungry? All right, catch. Quite a day. Not perfect, of course. Two slight annoyances. One is that it will be difficult to replace Ivan. And the other, well, Akvari escaped us, didn't he, Adam? But then, of course, the American didn't really play the game. So we won't count it. We won't count it at all. Alright, my boy, that's enough for now. Out you go with the rest. Rainsford. Good evening, General.
How did you get here?
I swam. I found it quicker than walking through the jungle.
I congratulate you. You have won the game.
No, General.
Yes, of course you have.
I'm still a beast at bay. Get ready, General Zaroff.
I see. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a meal for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. Good, Rainsford. Good. On guard. Yeah!
Well, the General was right. Never before in my life had I slept in a better bed.
Studio B Productions, Escape. Adapted for radio by Irving Ravage. The story was written by Richard Karnoff. Music by John Williams and Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain. Featured in the cast were Levi Smith as all characters. We thoroughly hope you have enjoyed this Studio B Productions remake of Escape.